Welcome to another glorious hockey day as we look over the city of Buffalo, New York, the home of the 2015 IPC Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships. They have been a dynamic event as you're inside now the Harbor Center where this particular World Championship has been. And this is the bronze medal match, number 19 of 20 in this entire competition. And Russia, 2 wins and 2 losses. Norway, 2 wins and 2 losses as well. And you wonder as you look back on day one, Norway a victory 3-1 over the Czech Republic, and the Russians a defeat at the hands of the host, the Americans, in their openers. And at that point, even the Canadians and the Americans who win triumphantly in their first day, they've got themselves a date in the gold medal. This the bronze medal match, though, as we look at how it worked in the semifinal. Canada, a win over Russia 3-2. Remember, Russia was leading that match 1-0 up, and then Canada stormed back on the back of Billy Bridges. And the Norwegians were in tough against the Americans, as the Americans really quite comfortable in the end of that semifinal, a 6-0 win. And that's where we stand here in match number 19. I'm Brent Pope as we look at the officials for this match. And interestingly, it's always a decision, isn't it? As the referees, Webinger, the Canadian, also the linesmen, a Canadian and American, Fergenbaum and Bradshaw. And joining me for expert analysis inside the sport of ice sledge hockey, a man that would know, twice a world champion himself, and twice a world or Paralympic gold medalist as well. As we look at the Russian results, Taylor Lipset, and the Russians, after that day one, not really sure if they got the start they wanted facing the Americans.
Yeah, tough draw the first matchup for the Russians, but they've responded well the rest of the tournament and played Canada in a very tough semifinal game. And I expect them to be on point here today and to execute Coach Samoilov's plan.
USA, a victory over Norway in that semifinal, and that allows the Norwegians to compete for the bronze medal. As we look inside this arena where it's been a fantastic home for this event, Hamar has been the goalie for the entire duration of this competition for Norway. He again is in the pipes today, and is he good enough to be able to slow down this Russian machine, really the offense getting itself rolling throughout this tournament?
Yeah, we see the Russians are going to come hard and heavy with Dmitry Lisov, their captain, and Litvinenko. But Hamar's made some pretty world-class saves this week, and if he can be on top of his game as well as the Norwegian defense, they have a good shot in this game to claim a bronze medal.
Samoilov looking on. He is the head coach of this Russian program, and sort of just watching him as he reflected on that semifinal performance, as they really were just a shot away from getting to the gold medal match. As you look at the Norwegian starters, Hamar in goal, Odenbake, Salberg, been very strong. Pedersen, though, the one to watch, number 3, the leader, and really the backbone of this entire Norwegian program.
He's the quarterback for Team Norway, and it's been like that for a long time. And Coach Espen Hedge is going to be really relying on Pedersen to be on his A game today if Norway wants to be successful.
Hedge is very studious in his approach as he was watching the warm-up. The Russians, if we're being honest, probably looked the sharper of the two teams, but the game's not played in the warm-up. That's just obviously the opportunity to get yourself limbered up and relaxed, stretched out. Plotnikov has been the man carrying the load for the Russians. He's looked sharp, but there is Samar who will be in the pipes at the opposite end for the Norwegians. It's all in the balance. There's a bronze medal at stake, and the Norwegians have perennially been in the medal hunt for every one of these competitions. And if you're really comparing the two flight paths of the performance of both these nations, the Russians continuing to rise and possibly the Norwegians just tipping a little bit down. We will see how this 45 minutes or more plays out as the puck is dropped. In white is the Norwegians with the red trim, and the Russians in the predominantly red going from left to right. It's played by the Norwegians into the end, and the Russians will have to go back in behind their own goal. But calm are the Norwegians. They don't assert themselves aggressively on this forecheck.
The Norwegians aren't a very fast and physical team. They rely on their puck possession and positioning to outwork other teams. And that's kind of a different style than the Russians. They're much more physical and rely on their forecheck to create turnover. So 2 different styles of hockey here today. It should be a great matchup.
A steady move. That's a nice little pirouette there. 360 Jakobsen just to get away. This is a play that bounces favorably for the Norwegians. Salberg in a position to get to it at the final second. and that's a little bit of a dangerous play. You see Plotnikov coming out, and the aggressive move by his defender in front. That's Litvinenko, but quickly a whistle blown on the play.
Yeah, a good chance here for Solberg. I think he was just offsides. He just crossed the line ahead of the puck there, according to the linesman, but good pressure and good passing from the Norwegians early on here.
You saw the possession game as employed by Jakobsen on the blue line. He just spins out of that Russian forecheck, and as you rightly say, the Russians are more aggressive, generally just relying on some robust power, some skill, definitely speed, and the Norwegians maybe a little more considered, a little bit more of a controlled game, and they will use the angles on the ice that's available to them to not only defend, but equally to try to make those area passes. That one, though, not successful as they go offside, and it's in this battle area for both sides. Right in front, this is dangerous. A chance now. Bardakovs can score from there, and it is a scramble in front right now, a loose puck, and the Russians can't quite get to it. Trenchyv, he's a danger man too, and the Russians ask the first real question of this hockey game.
Good job by the Norwegians, though, to keep everything to the outside there. There's 4 Norwegians surrounding the crease, and a good job by Hamar looking through the traffic to find that puck. He was bouncing around a bit. He was just able to find it on the edge of the crease on the backside there.
Trenchyv doing well to get a backhand and maybe just inch it inside that short post. There's Vardakov just getting himself reset and loaded to take this face-off for the Russians. We're just a minute 13 seconds gone in the bronze medal match. You're watching the World Ice Sledge Hockey Championships from Buffalo, New York. It's been a fantastic competition, and this is the final day as match number 19 of 20 currently underway, as the officials have been really quite detailed about how they want the lineup to be before they will drop the puck.
Yeah, they want both players in there when they're ready to drop it, and they're not afraid to kick teams out of there.
It's a puck picked up by Norway. They will make a directed route out of their own zone. It's Norstoga, though, and it's almost a predictable pass. Vardakov will take it from Norstoga, getting the player of the game in their last match. Very reliable pair of hands and a good level head back there for the Norwegians. They are in their own zone, and you see Trenchyv almost knocking the Norwegian defender off of the puck. This is much more aggressive from the Russians on this forecheck in the sequence now as Trenchyv will try and get to the puck. It's controlled, it gets up and into the corner again, and the red machine is rolling right now.
This is the kind of forecheck we saw them deploy against the Canadians the other night whenever they battled hard, 3-2 loss, but they did a good job of hemming the Canadians in, especially in the first period, so you can tell they're trying to employ the same tactics here this afternoon.
Selyukhin goes all the way back. Pretty happy-looking shot coming in just a moment ago from the Russians. It is actually, again, which is so often the case, wide of the target, and frustratingly so. And if you think it's frustrating really for the players, how do you think the coaches feel about it? As it is one of those real areas of the game that if you think a team can sharpen up or improve quickly, it's getting shots on net, and that would most definitely help their scoring output. But the Norwegians, Jakobsen, with control, will go wide side. He can't get enough on it to get it out. It's cut off by Chekmerov, and right now the lion's share of ice being played inside this Norwegian zone, as they have had to really shield off this Russian forecheck, and they have been aggressive. Just a couple opportunities, really, nothing really bold that Hamar can't handle yet.
Yeah, you see the Russians kind of using a 1-2 punch here on the forecheck. One guy will stay kind of high towards the middle, the other guy deep in the zone, and then they alternate as the puck switches sides. And so far it's been working and kind of throwing the Norwegians off.
Just as soon as Norway get collection of the puck, they give it up, and they're going to have to retreat now. A delayed offside coming, and that's all that was the indication as you hear the whistle from the linesman inside Harbor Center. As Lisov, the captain of this side, it took a while to get his own goal-scoring touch in check. He gets on the board in the third game of this tournament. He is one, though, that really can set up the plays, but he's kind of the energy of this offensive unit for Russia.
Yeah, he's the Russian backbone for this team, and he's played well all tournament, just hasn't been able to dial in a shot really, but he's been all over the ice, and you can tell when he's out there, and if the Russians are going to get a bronze medal today, he's going to have to play big.
Selyukhin will get back, and he will have Sorheim watching him. They have not gone below the Russian goal line yet, Norway. They really just like to retain that position, as you mentioned, in a central area of the ice, keeping it to the outside. Lisov, though, here's a danger man. He offloads it. Again, you wonder whether or not he might have been better to have shot it. And if his sights had been a little bit more accurate this week, I suspect that he would have.
That's exactly right. it gets in a shooter's head when they take shot after shot after shot and can't quite find the back of the net. So it makes you double guess yourself and your ability to pick the corners late in the tournament. And he just looks to slide it across to Litvinenko over there. And fairness with a good play in the middle of the ice for the Norwegians.
Great position by the linesman to make sure that that wasn't offside, as the play was a little bit delayed to get to the stick of Lysov, coming around the Norwegian defender. But the play continues, and they are underway. A face-off again in this Norwegian zone. They have had the lion's share of activity in their own end, as Boga can't get it out again, and the Russians really just with that pressure, just closing down these angles that normally the Norwegians find quite comfortably out of their own zone. They can't keep it in, though. They'll have to come out and tag up again, and 5 Norwegians back in a position, but not a lot of speed. Norstoga goes back and he's static. He doesn't really rely on sort of getting himself turned up and transitioning all in one motion.
Yeah, the Norwegians let the puck do the work for themselves. A lot of coaches, or actually all coaches, will tell you that.
Volkov with a good shot there. It actually goes off the Sledge and then off the outside of the net. Hamar sees that one safely. As we close in on 5 minutes gone in this bronze medal match, there's one, and that's Selyukhin. Again, Hamar comfortably just takes it with the blocker and almost just shields and deflects it away safely. But right now, you sense that the Russians are getting closer to getting themselves on the board.
They're definitely controlling the pace of the game right now and applying good pressure to the Norwegians in their own zone. You see Russia dominating the scoring chances thus far, 4 chances to 1 over the Norwegians.
The most important stat, though, is the score line. It's currently level at 0 apiece, as it's an icing call against the Russians. There is Lysov, one to watch out. Klakeg, a real formidable blue line presence for the Norwegians. As the Russians now in their own zone, but this was a chance they had Selyukhin a moment ago.
Yeah, great job by Selyukhin pinching in from the blue line there and just taking what the defense gives him, really, with a great shot on net. But Hamar able to catch up to the shot and send it to the corner.
Norway for the first time in below the Russian goal line in the offensive zone. The recycling, this is dangerous. Bakke, it's out front and still in front. Nobody knows where it was. The referee equally as well was unsure, but he blows the whistle, but that was pretty available in the slot area ultimately as soon as the players cleared.
Yeah, quick whistle there by the referee. But the Norwegians couldn't find it. Everybody lost sight of it there for a minute, and that's the referee's job, is to blow it dead if you lose his sight.
And there it is, right in the slot area, and Bakke and the Russians for a moment as well. They were first to it. There wasn't able to get another Norwegian on it. Level at 9:37 remaining in this first period. The Norwegians hanging tough. You are looking at the Russians as they prepare for this defensive zone faceoff. It is taken by Klakeg from Norway. In a position now to shoot. Oh, and it's not taken comfortably by Plotnikov in the body and comes across with his left hand. And here's another chance developing, and that's often the case. We watched Plotnikov and a lot of these goaltenders in the tournament, particularly in the warm-up, where they'll come across the body in favor of trying to get that puck with a glove hand. But Trenchev in a position now. Vardakov. Vardakov can shoot from there if you give him some room. There's a play down low, and it's dangerous as the delayed penalty coming against the Norwegians. A shot here from the outside. Poland, and quickly Kuznetsov will get to it on this near side and playing it around. The Russians are hemming the Norwegians in. Poling does not get it like he would have liked, and the possession given up and the whistle blown. Norway to be assessed with a penalty against. Our first look at the Russian power play in this hockey game.
Yeah, Jacobson just couldn't keep up with the Russian forward there and just held on a little bit too much for the referee's liking, I think. And that's what happens whenever you employ speed against a slower team. They have to take penalties to slow you up. Oh, it's actually a T-bone there. So just using the front of his sled to knock Terentiev off the puck, that's a teeing penalty, and you can't use that sled as a battering ram like that.
Underway again. Russia in the offensive zone with possession. They're just holding it on the blue line now. Selyukhin down low. This is a danger chance now, Volkov. And he goes wide side to the left. And you would have thought he had more room on the short side, but he takes the long side. 5 for 11, the Russians in this tournament on the power play advantage. It's still live, even though there's bodies everywhere. The referee right on top of it. He sees that it's not been controlled yet by the Russian or the Norwegian goaltender. And really awkward and difficult from our perspective to see it here now, but the referee just giving that as much life as he could.
Yeah, that's one of the difficult things about sledge hockey is with all the equipment that's in the pile, the sleds, the sticks, you know, hands, bodies, it's really tough for the official to keep track of that puck. And interesting they let him play that one out so quickly when we just saw that pretty quick whistle on the opposite end a few minutes ago.
Volkov battling for this puck. He is unable to win it. It is around into an area on the blue line. Litvinenko just keeping it in to Volkov. He's a goal scorer in this tournament. Backside play, a perfect pass to Terentiev. He just can't quite get the angle into the open side. They are right knocking on the door of the Russians. Lisov knocking his man off of the play. It's out into the neutral zone. And again, good work from the Norwegians, just to buy themselves a little bit of time to make a couple line change and to reset as they're now over the halfway point in this penalty kill.
That's exactly right. They're keeping everything to the outside, and even on that backdoor play, Nordstoga did a good job of just getting enough on Terentiev to slow him up.
That's a strong shot for Terentiev. He has two players going across in front of him and ends up being blocked by his own teammate, but they have control of it again. And it's closing down on half a minute remaining. Hamar just keeping it, and again, a quick whistle from the referee, and it's twice now, as there's actually a penalty coming up, and the linesman indicating to the referee that there's too many men on the ice. We'll watch to see, and it's the Russians potentially are going to get penalized now.
No, I believe it's the Norwegians. There's 5 players on the ice for them, and they're on a penalty kill right now.
And you're right, indeed, it's a little bit confusing as both teams really uncertain, and Samoylov giving the direction to his team, wanting to use this quick opportunity on the power play to effectively use it as a timeout, and Espen Hedge hollering at his team, trying to get his players off, and everybody gets a little bit confused, and we've seen that a couple times this week. The line changes are a difficult transaction to make smoothly, consistently, particularly in a high-pressure situation like this.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an art, you know, timing the player coming off the ice and the other guy coming onto the ice. And unfortunately, the Norwegians didn't do a smooth enough exchange there and got called for too many men.
5 against 3. You would maybe put some money on this Russian power play to score with this situation. 5 on 3 for 20 more seconds now, exactly. Backside play to Lisov. Into the corner. He's got room. He's got an angle. He can't get himself, though, to the forehand that he would like. He will now work his way all the way over here, and again, it's a patient formation from the Norwegians. Pedersen comes in. He just lets it to an area. They need to get back in that triangle in front. Now it's 5 against 4, and you listen to the slapping of the stick, and that's Plotnikov down here as he does the old beaver tail. This is a chance, a dangerous one on the short side. As with 5 on 4, the Norwegians that much more formidable. They will continue to work. A shot there. It goes wide, and it will go just out into the neutral zone as precious seconds count down on this second penalty against Norway. And they're doing a very strong job at keeping this Russian team on the outside and not allowing them to get the shots that they would like.
That's exactly right. They're not chasing the Russians around the offensive zone. They're basically just boxing up and letting them pass and skate around the outside of the rink, not allowing anything in the interior.
Terentiev to the wide side, Volkov. He is met immediately by Jakobsen, controlled and played down the ice by Pedersen. And this is a team that's getting more confident defensively, Norway. They have been able to handle the Russian power play 5 against 3, which is pretty unusual. You don't see a lot of 5 against 3s in this sport, and not necessarily in stand-up hockey either. But they've really kind of squandered the Russians. They have not been able to generate the shots that they would have liked. They've had a couple across the face of goal, but they've not been accurate when they've been taken. Terentiev across the line now in a good position. Backside is Volkov. Terentiev, oh, he's in a position still to shoot. Can he get there? And he goes wide once again, and that's the story so far in this period for Russia.
And really the story of the tournament thus far for Russia. Even though they made it to this game, there was a lot of games where they just didn't hit the net. Had a lot of good looks, a lot of good chances, but They have to roll that wrist over and dial those shots in to create scoring chances.
Now 5-on-5. Norway have done probably the best work of this period, playing better, you would say, because they haven't had the advantage. They've had their backs against the wall, and now they've got a transition game, and it's Boga onto it. And for the first time, Norway, again, maybe some sustained pressure in the offensive zone after all of that hard work and a penalty kill, but they're not there for long. Quickly, again, the Russians come forward, and you wonder whether or not the resilience and the stamina of the Norwegians will be able to keep up with the majority of the game being played in their own zone.
Yeah, that's one of the dangerous things about playing that style of defense and not being too aggressive. The offensive side and forechecking is you do rely on your defensemen and your players to kind of just hang tough in your own end for a while and try to keep up, and then maybe capitalize on one or two chances and then hold the lead.
Another good reverse pass from the Norwegians out of their own zone. And that when they're going one direction and play it back and hoping that the forecheck will stay with the player who had the original possession. They have done pretty well with that. And in fact, the passing from the Norwegians is more precise in this game than we have seen them be able to deliver thus far.
And that's their whole strategy, is to let the puck do the work. Every coach will tell you that the puck moves faster than any skater in the world. So if they can rely on their good passing and letting the puck do all of the coverage for them, then they can be successful.
Trying to get it up, Sorheim. Pettersson was ahead of the play. He'll come back and he'll control it. And again, Pettersson is met by a couple Russian defenders as soon as he gets the puck. We haven't seen Pettersson in a position yet offensively. He is again effectively like a rover right now. Although he's listed as a forward, he's always back in a strong defensive position first. One
of the best two-way players in the world, Pettersson, and he can take it from end to end when he wants to, but he's been a little conservative. He knows this is going to be a long game, so not taking really any big chances yet.
It is an icing assessed against Norway. They'll have to come all the way back. The referee is quick to go to the Norwegian bench to make sure to keep all of the players that were on the ice ready for this face-off. The Russians, though, have been close, but in all honesty there, Hamar tight to the post. He gets it up high in the neck area, but he should be able to with these angles, although Trenchev with an inside angle here, pretty dangerous.
Yeah, good job to absorb that hit and stay with the puck there and eventually get a shot off. He just missed the net to the left, but Russia generating some good chances right now. They just need to find a way to capitalize.
Potentially squeezing that stick a little hard. Pettersson almost stripped from Volkov. As Pettersson, they almost accept that he's just going to win possession when he's got a 50-50 battle like that or a man right on him. And immediately the Norwegians just sort of spanning themselves out, looking for a pass or trying to support him elsewhere. As it again is Pettersson being met by Lisov, and he leaves it, and that's a smart play. He absorbs the hit, allows one of his other teammates to come in and look to try and make a breakout.
Yeah, the Norwegians, one of the best teams in the world at that little drop pass back to the guy supporting the puck carrier, and they do that on purpose. They'll let that first guy take the hit just so the second guy can come in and have a little bit extra room.
Lisov with a play in front to Pamphilov as he just squeezed down the boards. He got hit in immediately on it. Litvinenko generally on the blue line in a more defensive position. He's up now aggressing on the forecheck for the Russians, as the majority of this last minute and a half has been inside the Norwegian zone. The majority of this first period has, but they are still scoreless, able to keep this Russian machine at bay. Klakeg, and an offload there, and maybe dangerous, but they're relying on their guile and a little bit of smarts, and again their positioning. They take away the center of the ice, keeping the Russians on the outside.
Yeah, they do a good job of using their sticks and getting the sticks into the passing and shooting lanes. So a lot of these...
Trouble here, Lisov in a danger zone. Low, and it goes squirting through, but out the other side. And it goes right off the sled of Hamar, and that chance there, the closest they've come.
That didn't miss by much. I'd say just an inch or two on the outside of that far post. A good job by Lisov finding a hole and trying to get it through there.
They are bending right now. Are they going to break before the end of this first period? A minute 30 now remaining. A long play out. It's a strong one. Is it in a position to get on the other end? Solberg just in time. It gets away. Plotnikov forced to poke it out, and he leaves that arm exposed. The speed of Solberg coming in, possibly a sled turnover here. Lisov 1 against 2. He can make it happen. Pettersson coming back though with a vengeance, making sure he's not unattended. Pamphilov, the pass on the outside, the danger, the shot, it's wide again. Volkov will pick it up for the Russians. Coming out of the corner on the forehand, a shot, I think it goes off the post, that one, as Hamar right now is being peppered. and the Russians continue to maintain possession. They're in and working, trying to get it out front. There it is! And right in the back of the goal, Lisov to Pamphilov, and it was only a matter of time. 48.7 seconds remaining, and the Russians have finally put it on the board.
Unbelievable play by Lisov below the goal line. He was very patient with the puck and just waited for the perfect time to slide it right under two Norwegian defensemen, right on Pamphilov's stick in front of the net, not a body on him.
The Norwegians have got to be gutted because they have done so much for over 14 minutes in this first period, and that's a pass effectively through two Norwegian defenders. But interesting how together they are. They go back and make sure that Hamar is ready to see out the remainder of this first period, and that they feel decent about how well they've played defensively so far. Yeah,
that was just a great pass by Lisov there, and as a defenseman, that's where you have to put your sticks down on the ice to prevent it from going under your sled like that. Definitely a preventable goal there for the Norwegians, but good job by the Russians by recognizing the opportunity and executing.
It certainly was. Again, the passing of Lisov, possibly more potent than his shooting, particularly in this tournament. And he's made a couple plays that it looked as though they were unavailable to him, but he has been able to just thread the needle. And boy, did he put it there on the tape for Pamphilov, who really, it was simple as soon as he received the pass.
There was no one even close to him. He basically had all day to get control and put it in the net, but chose the one-timer and slid it right past Hamar before Hamar could even realize the puck was out in front.
Final seconds, it just is kept in. Norstoga may be late, but the whistle now sounds. And the late goal in that first period, it's credited to Pamphilov, assist to Lisov, and also to Volkov at 14-12 over the first, 1-0 for the Russians, and they deserved that, in fairness.
They controlled that period without a doubt, and were able to just put one in there at the end and have the Norwegians on their heels.
In the bronze medal match, after 15 minutes, Russia lead Norway 1-0.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect. Probably 3-0. No. Yep.
Welcome back to the 2015 IPC Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships. This is the Harbor Center, and we are in the bronze medal match. Match number 19 of 20 in this entire competition. And we're just moments ahead of the second period as we look back over the first. The Russians 1-0 up, but it seemed to be a more dominant performance than the scoreline would suggest.
They were definitely initiating and controlling the pace of the play in that first period there. You see they are winning every stat category, 4-1 in the shots, 12-3 scoring chances, and Norway actually winning the face-off battle 7-5. But Norway, the only reason they're still in this game is because they've been blocking shots.
They've been in a good defensive position. One of the guys asking a number of questions and putting that pressure on him has been Terentiev, and he's really been unlucky not to have got on the board himself.
Yeah, he's using his speed and his agility just to get to the net. He's trying to put everything he can on Hamar, but unable to find the back of the net thus far.
Lisov powering his way through. We're seeing more of the passing touch from him in this opening period of the bronze medal game. And there you see a little bit of him sort of just throwing his shoulders and almost trying to draw Hamar into him, and it's a very dangerous shot down low.
Yeah, exactly. And Lisov just doing the work down low, below the goal line to find Pamphilov in front of the net. And Lisov, a little bit different than his counterpart, number 8, Ovechkin, who is a definite goal scorer. Lisov using his passing ability to get Russia the lead.
His sights maybe not entirely locked in as far as the shooting of this tournament thus far, but his passing has been precise. He makes a perfect pass to Pamphilov at 14-12 of that first period, which is the lone goal on the board. In this line right now, Pamphilov, Lisov, and Volkov, really too much to handle for the Norwegian defense, but does the the nature of the game so far and really the sort of how it's been played. Does that play into the hands of the Norwegians, who are a team who maybe likes to just be on the defense and are able to, if they get a chance to counter and transition, they can score too, and if they can keep it tight, it will really be an interesting game as this one develops.
Without a doubt, they're going to have to keep everything out of the net and try to get that next goal, but Pedersen can take over a game in a blink of an eye, and he can get from one end to the other pretty quick. One of the best goal scorers to ever play the game, but it's not going to be easy for the Norwegians, and you just wonder how long they can hold on if they don't capitalize soon.
There he is, Pedersen, and he was, as you say, more in a defensive position in that first period, and he is capable, though, if you give him a chance and some room, he can skate at the length of the ice himself. The Russians didn't do that. Again, a different formation from the Russians on this face-off to start the second period. They've got Pamphilov over by the penalty box, and they kind of go with a 4-1 set where they have a wide man. They look to win it back to the defenseman Litvinenko and immediately get on the forecheck as soon as they can win possession.
Definitely their strategy to get in the offensive zone and apply pressure to the Norwegians as fast as possible, trying to create a turnover and a quality scoring chance.
Pedersen battles. It's won by Volkov. Immediately it's Pamphilov who comes into position. They have a different wide set on this particular sequence in the neutral zone. It does actually work to their favor, because if they don't get the play over to Pamphilov, he just comes in and picks up the puck. They're now in the offensive zone. And Lisov with control, the passing play intended to Selyukhin. And Litvinenko will go back into the neutral zone and recover. And 1-0. It's not a power play goal, even strength right at the end. And it was a goal that the Norwegians, considering how well they played defense, they killed a 5-on-3 power play for the Russians in that first period. They'll really almost feel a little bit disappointed that they didn't defend that particular play.
Yeah, the puck went right under two Norwegian defenders' sleds. You have to have your sticks down on the ice to prevent that from happening, but a good job by Lisov to recognize that and just thread it through to his teammate.
Here he is, Lisov. He's trying to get out of the logjam over there. Too much traffic, though, for him to get away cleanly, and that is often the case, too. It's a little bit of a delay tactic to manage your opposite number, getting your sled kind of hooked onto him, and to do it at such a pace or at such a sort of level of strength that you put the pressure on the opposing sled that you don't get called a penalty against.
Exactly. It's one of those things that you just learn how to do over time, but you have to be careful because it does get called sometimes, but if you can do it sneaky, then it can be to your advantage.
Pedersen, he can't hide out there. They always know where he is. As soon as he gets the puck, they like to close him down. And then he's now back again, having to go and support this puck as it's in the Norwegian zone. It's reversed to him. Now Pedersen again, looking for an angle, and it's got to be almost challenging for Pedersen, as we know every time he gets it, they're almost getting back into like a center field position, looking to take away the angle and forcing him to have to work at both ends of the rink. This is Lisov. And you know, on the outside, Amasov with a position out front. A play to Barlikov. It is picked up, though. Norway are in position. Kuznetsov is shot there. It scrambles around the front. Getting the loose puck, it's Trenchev. A dangerous chance here. And immediately Hamar goes down. And Trenchev, with a good nose for the puck, finds that in a scramble in front.
Yeah, good job crashing the net there by number 22, Terentiev. He did a good job of just finding the puck and getting it on net. I didn't think he had much room there, but you see him just go through Klakeg and put the puck on the net, and Hamar having to be big in there.
That was an old-fashioned knuckle puck from Kuznetsov from the blue line. It had enough heat on it that it ricocheted around, and it wasn't able to be controlled by the Norwegian defenders. And Trenchev tried to unlock it and get a good shot in and try to jam it in by that short side. We see it if you really can just create pressure sometimes. The goaltender, if you're able to create enough traffic, can invariably or off another sled, it can just go in. So they will work again, the Russians, off this offensive zone faceoff. Litvinenko, more aggressive Litvinenko in an offensive position in this match so far.
Yeah, you see him pinching in all the way down behind the net there, and he's a defenseman. And now we have a chance here for a possible 2-on-1 if they can catch up to it.
Sorheim was the first Norwegian on the scene, but it is quickly controlled by the Russians as they come back, take away the center ice position. Their speed, though, again, really doing the job for them and getting them back in position. Varnas, that's a dangerous looking shot from Varnas as he just unloads. He comes out of a position there off the top of the circle and just lets it fly. Some good energy from the Norwegians in this first couple minutes of the second period, and they don't get a whole lot of looks offensively. When they do, they've got to make them count.
Yeah, that was an impressive shot by Varnas. One thing people don't really think about or realize is that sledge hockey sticks are, they're obviously much shorter than stand-up hockey sticks, but stand-up hockey sticks have flex in them, so a player can press down on the stick on the ice and create kind of like a whipping action by the stick once they release, and they really use the force to load the stick. The sledge hockey players, it's all shoulder and arm to generate that velocity and accuracy. So it's impressive that a lot of these players can hit 50, 60 miles an hour on these shots with one arm.
Sokolov in there to take away the possibility for the Norwegians just to use the momentum of the puck and get in behind it and force it out. Again, the Russians really smothering this defensive zone right now, and Norway are really just unable to get a whole lot of speed generated, and they're reliant on those passes. But when the speed of the Russian forecheck is as quick as the puck is moving on the Norwegian sticks, it's a real control game in the offensive zone for the Russians, and you sense that they're just slowly breaking this Norwegian defense down.
Yeah, the Norwegian team is going to get tired as the game wears on here, and we've touched on this before, but the Russians are full-time athletes. They're paid to play this sport, to train day in and day out. Unlike many of the Norwegian players who do go to school, they have full-time jobs and that sort of thing. So we might see the conditioning of the Russians just outlast the Norwegians, and consequently that may lead to a lot of scoring chances.
The balance of real life and sporting life is always a tricky one, particularly at the world-class level, and the sport of ice sledge hockey, where it continues to grow, and this tournament has been another platform in which for to do so. Now across the line, Selyukhin in a position. Is he going to feed it to Lisov? He will, to Lisov. Oh my, how does he miss that?
Holding on to the sticks a little too tight. That's what he's been doing all week. He's had a couple wide open chances and just not hitting the net, and that'll drive his coach crazy. They need him to score those kind of goals. They don't come any easier than that.
Selyukhin, a perfect feed to Lisov, and the momentum created, the whole execution of the play, dynamite, exactly as you would have drawn it up on the board. As Selyukhin gets unloaded off of his own sled, and then the finish there at the end, well, it's really unacceptable for a player of that standard. And as you say, Samoilov, who's got his hand just scratching his head right now, wondering what else he needs to do, as Bakke will get on to this play. The Norwegians, a chance now to get a shot in. Lisov back, and he works, and you can almost forgive it because of his attention to defense and at both ends of the rink. But you really need, as you say, those top players get the job done. And when the opportunities present themselves, that's a golden one. You have to convert, or otherwise, when you're trying to win medals, those are the differences in hockey games.
That's the difference between a gold and a silver and a bronze right there, is the ability to capitalize when you have the opportunity. And that's what makes the Canadians and the Americans so good, is they do capitalize on opportunities like that. And that's why the Russians are playing in this game this week.
A game of execution and a game of chances, as Norway see if they've got one. That is a heavy collision. A penalty coming up against the Russians, and it's Lisov, and he takes a penalty directly after a missed opportunity. And how often is it the challenge for the player to manage their own emotions?
Yeah, maybe just a little frustrated with himself there, missing that open net. He puts a lot of pressure on himself. You just see he uses the front of his sled to hit the bucket of Rolf Pettersson just to knock him off the puck. But again, you can't use the front of that sled as a battering ram in this sport, and they'll call it every time.
There you see Dmitry Lisov in the Russian penalty box, and they've had an opportunity to increase their lead in the second period. They have not taken it, and they will now present Norway with a power play coming back. Russia lead 1-0. You're watching the bronze medal match of these 2015 IPC Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships, and the Russians have a 1-0 lead, and we need to be careful not to overemphasize these plays, Taylor, but this was a golden opportunity for them to really take this game and to really grab it.
Yeah, great feed by Selyukhin to Lisov, and you see him marked, automatically commit down low and dive across. He had the whole up part of the net wide open. That is just something that you cannot do, is miss a net on an opportunity like that. You've got to capitalize.
In the moment, Norway are on the power play. They've got an opportunity here, and you get a sense with missed chances like the ones that we saw from the Russians just a moment ago. This 2 for 8 power play for Norway. So 25% of the time they can convert. You wonder if something crazy is coming here and that Norway can level this here after taking all of the pressure from Russia so far against just one shot. Levels this hockey game.
It's interesting that Norway has their young line out here with Bogla, Hamar, and Sorheim, as opposed to having maybe Pedersen and some of their better shooters on the ice.
Possibly a changing of the guard, a tactic that only Espen Nuge would know best about, or Hedge. Espen Hedge would know exactly how he wants to approach this. And it is interesting. This is a young line, though, that has created energy. They've had good puck possession, and particularly maybe a chance for Pedersen when they have the power play just to take a break, as he has been matched up against these Russians pretty well all day, trying to nullify their offensive thrust. Down the ice, it will be sent by Varlikov. And his power play thus far, other than the first chance, which was a pretty good-looking one, right in front of Plotnikov, they've really almost used this man advantage just to get themselves reset. There hasn't been a whole lot of fireworks from Norway with the power play thus far. Norstoga to Bogla. Bogla just steady and deliberate. Into a position, Bakke over to Sahlberg. Maybe this is better from the outside. Plotnikov has to make that save. And he does, into the corner. That was on net, and from the angle we look at it here now, I do think he has to make that, or otherwise it is level at 1.
Yeah, he definitely had to make a good save there, but Sahlberg maybe with some more time and a chance here for Bakke.
Look at this danger. He gets stripped in the last second. He had a chance just to go to the right hand, his preferred shot, and is now back to the blue line. Jakobsen patiently across to Klake. Is this danger for Norway? A shot, they score! And just as we predicted, that missed chance potentially from Lisov comes back to haunt them. And Klake, a touch on in front though, a dynamic response from Norway.
I couldn't tell if that was a screen or a tip in front, but either way, a great job by Klake getting the puck on the net.
Watch this play. Patient pass across from Jakobsen. Klake, and I think it's the defender. Klake should get credit. I think it goes off Litvinenko regardless. He elevates it, and that's what created the real danger.
Yep, that was a tip in by Litvinenko there. I think Plotkinov had it tracked pretty well until it changed direction, and that'll drive a goalie crazy when his defensemen put their hands up and knock the puck around. I've been told many times by Steve Cash when I play for Team USA to just let him make the save, and if it hits me, it hits me, but don't raise my hands and try to knock it down.
It's a very valid point. Klake gets his second goal of the tournament. He'll get an assist on the play to Jakobsen, and we'll wait to hear the announcement of the second assist on it. But that is exactly what we're talking about with Lisov. And it really, right now, this will change the game as quickly again in transition. Here they are, the control game, steady and sure. Often can win the race, and are they going to win the race? The bronze medal, it almost banks in there as they use momentum and they just put it into an area where good things happen as Klake gets involved now in the neutral zone, and this game has just gone up a gear.
You see the Norwegians with a little bit more energy right now, a little bit more excitement. They know they're still in this game.
And Russia 2-1 the opportunities in this period. But it is the scoreline. It's level at 1. That's all that really matters. Volkov to get the puck now. He'll move it into position, and he'll try to win it back. It's Volkov getting his own return. And now over to the far side.
The Russians need to respond here, but Norway doing a good job of keeping them to the outside. They're using their body, not letting anything to the middle here.
And look at the defense from Norway. They are resilient. And now the penalty. We look back, Lisov, after the missed chance, the frustration, and then it leads to a momentum change in this hockey game. Oh, right there, Pamphilov, almost with his second of the game. It goes off him, and he misses that far post. And equally, the Norwegians know that they have to manage this Russian attack right now as they use their energy. And it's a to and fro battle as these teams just slugging it out in this second period. Klake, that is a dangerous play because he's losing his balance. He looks to put it behind his own goal, but it almost looks like he takes a shot attempt. Look at this breakaway. Sahlberg is alone. They've forgotten about him. He's in behind the Russian defense. Sahlberg, oh, it's a save by Plotnikov. And remember that one. as Norway with a chance to take the lead, and they're denied as Plotnikov throws the body right in front of him. But here they come again. Jakobsen, will he take the shot himself? He goes backside to Pettersson. Pettersson handcuffs Plotnikov, but he does enough to make the save. And this here, the best sequence back and forth between these two teams. Plotnikov with potentially a game saver. We're level at 1 in the second period of the bronze medal match. They are cool as ice, the Norwegians. They have leveled this game. And then they go and create themselves a breakaway, and Solberg could have opened it up and they could have grabbed the lead. 2
huge saves by Plotnikov to keep the score even here. Solberg had all day, and then you see Jakobsen find Pettersson on the weak side, just not able to get it up over the glove. 2 ginormous world-class saves to keep this score 1-1.
The angle of that pass from Jakobsen across to Pettersson, maybe the reason why it isn't 2-1, because if Pettersson gets that clean on his right hand, I think he finds a way to jam that past Plotnikov in the Russian goal. But the angle has to go past his sled to get to his right hand, and maybe that's the difference in this one. It is just small little things that will amount to who will win this bronze medal. And right now, though, equally, as this will be Varlikov opening himself up, you get the sense that neither team is really in the ascendancy, as this is dangerous from Norway. Again, they do just enough, but that is not outstanding textbook defense as they come back in front of their own goal.
It's been interesting to see how they handle the puck in front of their own net. The defenseman choosing to do a little extra stick handling in front of Hamar there, making him probably pretty nervous, but no mistakes so far.
I don't think either coach can genuinely believe that they're more deserved to get this bronze medal. I think it is entirely in the balance of the remaining 18 minutes plus or possibly more in this hockey game. As we close down on 3.5 minutes remaining in the second, it's a whole new game. As in the first, the Russians, whilst they were dominant, they only were able to get a 1-0 lead. And in the second, we have seen the response from Norway, and then back and forth, both of them exchanging opportunities. But it's all about execution in the moment. As Bakke, he actually ends up offloading it back, and Bakke, another strong, steady, dependable defender for Norway, makes a good play, and they make these 15, 20-foot passes, and they do it with real purpose every time. Solberg, maybe he gets to this one, icing waved off, and immediately the forecheck, and this is much more aggressive for the Norwegians on the offense now.
Yeah, this is how they have to play if they want to be able to take the lead in this game, and we haven't really seen this style from them this week. They've done a lot of puck possession, but a chance here.
Here it is, Jakobsen, high, and it hits a defender again in front. And you talk about the point you made about playing defense in front of Steve Cash. Here's Pettersson. You have to keep your hands down because the sight line of the goalkeeper is right at the height of the puck traveling in, and you become more of a detriment. This is Lisov. Look at him go. One hand and one-man band. But where's the puck? It's now out. And for a moment, both teams looking to try and find it again. Volkov right to the backside. Trechev, oh! And he can't get it in time. That's the best chance they've had since Lisov's in the second period.
Yeah, he just tried to switch that to the left hand and didn't get all
There it is! Volkov from the outside. And he rattles it off of the Sledge in the Norwegian goal. Hamar, just the angle of his Sledge prevents that one going in.
A couple great chances there for the Russians. Right on the back of Pettersson's chance on the opposite end. We see Hamar having to play big here in the Norwegian net.
And that goes off the helmet again, and that was off of Kuznetsov, and they've already used the helmet of one of the Russian defenders to get their goal, Trechev, though. And right now, although these players look pretty calm and cool, their heart rates have got to have risen throughout the later stages of this game.
Yeah, this has been a really back and forth game.
And Lisov now to get to the puck. There was another well-developed play by the Russians. They can't execute it. That is a powerful shot. But again, it's high and up over the goal. And they're in a position now as they will work this puck into an area. Lisov, and that's a dangerous play. He waited for that. He took it on the one time. He allowed it to go past his left hand, and he rifled it with the right hand. Again, even a better save made by Hamar and the Norwegian goal. And this game is really taking a turn, and a great turn for all of those watching, as everybody really quite quietly and with tension, uncertain as to how this game will play out.
Yeah, it's really opening up here. Chances on both sides of the rink here in the past few minutes. Pretty exciting stuff.
Across the line again, Volkov reloading. This Russian machine, they get more opportunities. They have been wasteful, though, with them. They get another one here. Pavlov out front for Lisov, backside, and they don't convert on that one either. And Lisov gets wrapped up with Hamar, and you just get a feeling that the Norwegians know how to defend these opportunities, and they're just keeping calm in the moment and not overplaying them. And this is Lisov, wide side, into an area, just a stick on it, though, by Solberg as he reads it. Again, though, they manage their way around an aggressive forecheck from Lisov, and it's that balance between head over heart. And the calm, collected approach of the Norwegians have paid dividends with their level, as the Russians will reload again with 30 seconds now and counting in this second period. Litvinenko, and unfortunately for him, the puck going off of his helmet before going in the back of the Russian goal. The shot from Klakeg, as they'll work it now, the Norwegians, and they'll try to manage this clock and see this remainder of the second period out. Klakeg keeps it to the boards in an area where hopefully it's not dangerous for the Norwegians, but now they have been able to draw a face-off. It'll go outside the zone. I think it's as a result of the player with the hand on the puck, but Russians again flirting with taking the lead.
Yeah, they're relentless right now. You see it just go right across the crease. Lisov not able to get all of his stick on it, but a good job by Hamar getting over and creating obstruction in front of Lisov there, not letting him get a real clean look.
It's the final touch by Hamar that really is the difference in that sequence. The service is perfect across the goal to Lisov, but it just changes direction, as did the shot from Klakeg, and that last direction change is so difficult to defend. And we saw ourselves a tremendous second period of hockey. That 15 minutes, totally different than the first.
We've got a game on our hands here. We really saw both teams open it up a bit there, using their faster players to generate some scoring chances. We couldn't ask for a better bronze medal game here.
It is in the balance after 2 periods. We are level at 1, Russia and Norway, for the bronze medal.
Right. Yeah.
What started as a 45-minute contest for the bronze medal at the 2015 IPC Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships is now down to 15, or maybe a little bit more, as we're level after 2 periods at 1. The Russians taking the lead in the first, but a real response from Norway to get that goal in the second as we look back, Taylor, over the first 2 periods.
Good job by the Norwegians of evening this thing out. The Russians only 1 or 2 shots that period, and Norway had 5. And we see the second period scoring chances there, 5 apiece. And I'm going to say the Norwegian scoring chances were a lot higher quality than the Russians. They've really turned it on this period.
You look at Solberg, he had a breakaway in that period as well that could have taken the lead, as they really just worked hard and waited and outshone the Russians defensively, but this was the breakaway we're talking about.
Yeah, great play by Bakke to get the puck up to Solberg, who was all alone, just couldn't finish.
Jakobsen made a tremendous play actually on the goal as he was patient, moving it across. Ultimately, it was Klake who took the shot. As Jakobsen, though, all of the blue liners for Norway have been strong. They've been dependable, and then Klake gets involved, and Jakobsen the feed on the goal of the game.
Yeah, Klake doing a good job just getting the puck on net, and actually goes off the Russian defender's stick and just right up over Plekhanov. To see how unhappy he is.
Oh, he does. He responds, and there's nothing he can do. It's indefensible, really. And it's almost indefensible from a goaltender's perspective that the players in front of you And I don't think Litvinenko attempted to try and defend that puck. It's just simply as a result of it going off of his head, and he was in the course of defending in front of the net. As we look at the Japanese and the Italian teams looking on at this bronze medal match, and neither of those sides particularly may think they should have been in this one. They had strong tournaments though. These two sides, they deserve to be here. And right now, it is undetermined and unlikely to be able to predict realistically who's going to walk away with the bronze today.
Yeah, the guy you didn't see in any of those highlights is Rolf Einar Pedersen, number 3 for Norway. And I've seen him take over games like this, offensively and defensively, and pretty much take his team on his back to the podium.
You looked at Samoilov there. You just got a shot of him actually with a stopwatch in his hand, and actually he's obviously clocking the shift lengths of his players and making sure. It's one thing they do. They do a pretty good job of distributing ice time across this entire lineup. There you see the wide spread from Pamphilov over in front of his own bench. They'll look to get possession again. Stamina will have a part to play in this hockey game.
Without a doubt, and you have to give the edge just a little bit to the Russians, who are full-time athletes and have the ability to train every single day, in comparison to the Norwegians, who the majority of them have full-time jobs or go to school.
Full-time or part-time, however you look at it, it's about who wants the most over these remaining 15 minutes. The bronze medal at stake as we are underway, as the battle will commence. And again, there is the aforementioned Pedersen, and you get a sense that Father Time may in fact have been kind enough for Pedersen to still have a part to play and to be impacting offensively in this game. It will go wide, out, Selyukhin to get it to the neutral zone. Lisov and Selyukhin a little bit in each other's way there as they try to advance forward, and it is a cautious start for the second, or at least third period, as we saw a different complexion in that second. As this now just squirting out in behind the Norwegian zone, and you almost get a sense really as we comment on this game that we need to be a little bit quiet as we sense this game kind of push itself to what is going to be a crescendo. It's only going to be one shot. There's one there as Hamar makes the save. Really, I think it's just going to be one goal that's going to determine it. I don't expect that the scoreline is going to increase.
Yeah, neither one of these teams really doing a lot of goal
This
production.
is turned over and a penalty, and it's a mistake that has led to the Russian power play. And right there inside their own blue line, and a little bit uncertain that entire first minute of this third period, the Norwegians looked cautious rather than resilient in being able to handle the Russian forecheck. And this is an awkward play, and you get a sense that this maybe could be the difference in the game.
Yeah, you never see Rolf Pedersen miss on a drop pass like that. That's just utter miscommunication there between him and Klokeg. Klokeg having to, put a little contact on Lisov to prevent a chance right in front of the net, and they're going to play a man down for the next 2 minutes or less.
A stilted start to this third period, and you wouldn't have thought that the way both of these teams really put the pedal down in that second frame, and maybe more the Norwegians, but they've got to go back to that defensive mindset that they had in the first, and they just have to just go through the waves of this hockey game and how things are moving throughout it as the momentum changes back and forth. 0 for 2 in the power play thus for Russia thus far in this game. Are they going to be 1 for 3, and is that going to be a difference in the hockey game? Remember, Lisov had a chance and then took that penalty that led to the momentum that led to Norway getting the 1 goal they have in the game, and penalties are key. This is Litvinenko in position to Lisov. In front, there's a scramble, and that there is an absolute stud of a shot from Bardakov, but off the end boards again.
Yeah, another situation where they just missed the net. If he would have hit the net, I think that might have beat Hamar. That was a rocket just above the circle.
Volkov just hammers one in. And dare we say it, as they build up, you sense the one-strike attack of Russia. Chance here, Bardakov across the face of goal. And every time a shot is in that area, you hold your breath for the defending team, as anything can happen. We've seen it already in this one. It is picked up by Norway. They are not there in enough numbers to get the loose puck. It's one back, Pamphilov feeding it over to Volkov, and he will just get it into an area. Is a different atmosphere inside Harbor Center for this third period, as everybody really knows that this game is entirely still in the balance, and it's going to be one mistake. You can see that developing in the way this game unfolds. Lisov drops it for Amosov. Over to the backside. The stick isn't there preventing it. Control, Trenchev. Trenchev, we haven't seen as much from him. He has, again, been in and around the action, but he has not been involved in the output thus far. The penalty is now over, and Klokeg They get away with it, Norway. Did they use a little more gas, though, in the tank than they would have liked? Or have they got a tank that really can find a way to get it done when they need to? Kuzmentov, he will go into the zone. And Kuzmanek will get onto it first. Trenchev as well. As in behind the goal now, Jakobsen, Klakeg, Norstoga, Pedersen in a dangerous position now as they almost put it out in front of their own goal. Cutting it off again on that far side. Kuzmanek gets to it. Klakeg battles with him. Trenchev there, Pedersen. And this is a matchup straight against each other. And it is going to be really a battle of will as to who really wants it, who's going to go the extra distance, and can you outweight the opposition? That's often a tactic as well from the Norwegians. Just waiting for their chance. Can they hold this Russian offense at bay? Jakobsen into an area. Pedersen feeds it to Sahlberg. He can't quite get it. And now Bardakov will go back in behind his own goal line to reset this Russian machine, ready to go. They'll make a line change or two. So do the Norwegians. And now again, trying to weave and wind a route. Kuzmanek, seeing a lot of him in this shift. Volkov on the outside. And we just played in behind Hamar in the Norwegian goal. And neither side, a couple of hits there from Trenchev. Really looking to be physical thus far in this third period.
Yeah, the Norwegians doing a good job of keeping everything outside on the perimeter, either below the goal line or along the boards on either side, not letting a lot go through the middle of the ice, really clogging it up, preventing any good quality scoring chances.
It's a game of chess. Trenchev out front to Volkov. Can he get to it? Immediately countered by the Norwegians. As it really is a game, and it's calculated right now from both sides as to how they want to mute each other out. And the bigger of the two sides, definitely the Russians, but the more direct, the angles, and some of that experience starting to become obvious for the Norwegians on the blue line particularly.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier about them wanting to let the puck do the work, and you're seeing that here. They're just using the boards and using bounce passes and area passes to get the puck out of the zone and give themselves a little breathing room as they try to regroup.
Lisov now has possession from there and again. And we're like a broken record every time when he gets an opportunity in this particular match. He has left his own side wanting more, because he's capable of more. But now it's been broken up into the neutral zone. And Litvinenko will regroup it for Russia, wide side for Lisov. He makes a good move there, a strong one, steady. Volkov, this is dangerous. In front is Lisov back, but he goes behind the goal and really too late to make the play he wanted.
Ran himself out of room there. You got to make that play when it's available. You can't hold on to that puck for an extra second. And this goes back to that saying we've been referencing all week, is make the play when you should, not when you have to.
It's forced out. Norway, though, can't do anything to really apply the forecheck as they would have liked. I think they're going to wave it off and just get back in time. And you wonder if Selyukhin was a little bit slower getting back, whether that would have been an icing call against Norway. It is a play that will allow to be continued as Bardakov now will just move it wide side. The shots for Russia, 9-6 the advantage in this hockey game. And not a whole lot of shots, really, considering these two teams are capable of more, but it goes back again to the Russian shots that they have had, missing the net. Missing the net
and hitting bodies. We've seen Jakobsen block a few pucks in front, as well as Knut Nordstoga doing a good job of getting in the shooting lane. So the Norwegian defense doing a good job thus far, and they just need to figure out how they can capitalize on one of these scoring chances if they want to take the lead.
Yeah, another good play there from Pedersen, though. You talk about conserving their energy. He just used the angle, lofted it, went off to the defensive player. He isn't really asserting himself. Now he will. He just reads it only every so often, isn't it? When he senses that there might be a real chance that he'll jump in. Other than that, he's back in a defensive position all day.
Yeah, he doesn't want to give the Russians any chance to get behind the Norwegian defense, and he knows he might be the last line, so he plays very smart and only takes the chances when he knows it's probably 80 to 90% of a good quality scoring chance that he might have.
He goes around the long way, and that's the forehand side. He sees what's over there, but the Russians plug it up. This is Trenchev. This is dangerous. He is in front. How does Hamar make the save? It's still live. It's a scramble, an absolute fight in front. in the trenches. Bartikov, a shot up. Hamar, I don't think it gets to him. And Norway, probably their best defensive sequence of this hockey game. And here he goes the other way. Solberg in pursuit, is 3 Russians back. Does he get a shot off? It's just the left-hand side of Plotnikov. But what a response, considering how much they just had to play in front of their own goal and how close they were to conceding.
Good counter there by the Norwegians. Just wasn't able to get everything on that shot, but also a good job by the Russians, who had 4 guys back checking to put a lot of pressure there on Solberg.
The Russians, 3 of them coming back, and they were in hot pursuit of the opportunity that just temporarily presented itself, and it was Solberg, and he was he's the captain, and he was trying to create some offense. He didn't get much of a shot off at the end, but probably more to be commented on is the defense in front of Hamar on that shift. Outstanding from Norway to get the job done. What looked likely to be the difference in the game there, that sequence, but it is now a live puck inside the Norwegian zone, and they'll power forward again. And just every so often now they create a chance. This could be a game breaker in front for Bogla. Plotnikov comes diving out, and Bogla trying to get to it. And it is a real interesting development in this third period. We're still level at 1 in the bronze medal game. The Russians are in their own defensive zone, a face-off in front of Plotnikov, but they have had the opportunities in this third period to break this game open and to reestablish a lead.
They just haven't been able to dial in that shot and put it on net in a few of these scoring chances, and right now that's the difference in the game. That's why it's still 1-1.
Face-off. Pedersen will battle for it. He can't win it. Good strength from the Russians as they find a way to get it onto their own sticks. Lisov, though, facing the wrong direction. Bakke will pick it up, and a little careless there. And the Norwegians, we have seen, don't need a whole lot of opportunity in order to get on the board, as they are very efficient and effective with the opportunities they do get. Solberg will play it down. They let the puck do the work, as we have said a number of times. And they are now closing in on 5 minutes remaining in this 45 minutes of regulation time. You sense there could be overtime as well. But Pedersen, he might have something to say about it. This is one of the first times I've seen him below the Russian goal line and in the offensive zone, really setting the table. Claquet, this is dangerous. A shot. It scrambles. It's still live. And immediately Plotnikov had to get on it as 2 Norwegians are right in front.
Great job by Solberg, just posting up in front of Plotnikov.
But watch this again. Pedersen slowly waiting for just a little bit of daylight to get it to one of his teammates' stick. It was Claquet again, and immediately they converge. Level at 1 inside of 5 minutes remaining in the third period. Espen Hedge giving instructions to his team. No doubt about their defensive position. They come out very encouraged. So do the Russians now, as they almost match each other energy-wise. The Norwegian fans right behind their own bench, though, willing their team on. And it really is now a mental toughness stage of this hockey game as to who, of course, physical strength and stamina is going to have a big part to play. And that then does affect your mental decision-making and your ability just to hang tough in these situations. It really, neither team, you can say, has the advantage, even though the Russians have had the majority of play.
Yeah, the main player to keep an eye on for the Norwegians is Pedersen. He's been in a lot of games like this, big games against big teams, and he knows when to take his chances, and he can capitalize when he has the chance.
Blackhead just sprawling out, putting it in position for Pedersen, who plays it in behind the Russian goal immediately to the transition game. Here's Kumenik. He's letting go, but he turned it over. They've been careless. This could be a window. Played over to Pedersen. Pedersen from the far right side. Out front, and there it is. The golden opportunity for Solberg to put the Norwegians in front, and he can't get it done.
He just tried to get a tip on the pass there from Pedersen as opposed to trying to get a harder shot. But a great job by the Norwegians of creating room for themselves and a chance in front.
A golden opportunity for Solberg on the feed from Pedersen, and it just gets away from him, goes off the top of his blade, and he doesn't get all of it, and it pops up in the air, and Plotnikov will just settle it down for this important face-off. Underway again, the Norwegians in the offensive zone. They in white, the Russians in red. It's behind to the far corner, and Bakke to it first, and we're seeing the Norwegians anticipate the puck movement better right now than the Russians.
They're doing a good job of putting some pressure on the Russians in their own zone, forechecking, and it's creating some turnovers and consequently scoring chances.
In again behind this Russian goal line. And is there just ever so slightly a change in the access of this game? Bakke, calm, coming forward, a shot, a scramble. And Solberg was fading away from the net. If he stopped, he possibly has a chance to put it in the backside there.
Yeah, that would have been his third opportunity right around the crease if he would have just thrown on the brakes there and not skated past the net.
Blackhead kept it in, only temporarily. Lisov will try to get on the end of it. A last defender controlling the blue line, it's Jakobsen. He is able to actually, with the contact, remove one of the sticks out of the hand of Lisov to the wide side. The angled pass, he can't get it there. The lane taken away by Pamplov. Solberg puts it in. He gets knocked down, though, for his troubles. And then again, the Russians have spent the majority of the last 4 or 5 minutes in their own zone. And they need to be careful. They've made a couple turnovers like this. Wide side, Pamplov on the feed from Lisov, getting in the lane. And they are so stingy, aren't they, the Norwegians on defense? They are so disruptive as well. They've not allowed the Russians to continue the momentum that they generated offensively in the first period. And is it a case of not taking advantage of the chances that they were there and then they evaporate as the game plays out? Here they go, though, trying to get it out of their own zone again. It gets played in, and the Russians will regroup into the neutral zone inside of 3 minutes remaining in regulation. Are we going to see the first overtime game in this tournament in the bronze medal match? As we march down, get close to it, there would be 10 minutes of overtime to be played. Should we get to that, and then potentially game-winning shots. As now it is Norway in a position across the line. They don't get it to where they would have liked. Deep in the Russian zone. They'll regroup and neutral zone play in and around. And it will be Litvinenko to go back for it first. He is sent, though, in the defensive zone by Sorheim. Sorheim does enough just to break it up. Bogla will play it in behind this Russian goal line again. And the pace has slowed, hasn't it, Taylor?
It has indeed. You kind of think maybe both teams just really worried about making that one mistake that can lead to a goal. So both playing a little conservatively right now, but on the next Norwegian line change, Rolf Pedersen is going to come back on the ice, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him take a shot.
Down low, they're trying to manage this puck. They've just given it up a little bit cheaply here. Selyukin holds it in the blue line. He'll get to a better position in the center ice, but look at the match from Hamra. Hamra on him like a shadow. And over to the far side is Trechev, keeping close. Norstoga weaving and winding to mark his man, Trechev. He's a hard guy to match. Trechev with a little bit of daylight in now and behind the Norwegian goal. He'll offload it for the cycle down, and Kuzmenek is the one trying to get it for Russia, but calmly. They do not give it up cheaply this time. Norway, very calm under pressure, and they get hit, though, for their troubles as Litvinenko is keeping it in for the Russians. Closing in on a minute left in regulation time in this bronze medal match. Norstoga for Norway. Bogla, he'll angle it left to right hand. They do navigate out of their own defensive zone, and there you see it. A minute left remaining in regulation in the bronze game. Norway need to be careful not to be penalized. Too many players on the ice. They get away with it, though. And Pedersen will just loft it into an area and allow the Norwegians to get reset. And it's going to be an icing, or it's going to be too many men. The linesman indicating here, and this is curious.
I think it's going to be an icing call. He's just making sure the same player comes back on the ice that tried to get that change in.
There is no penalty. And Espen Hedge is giving directions here. 47.3. This game could be determined off of this face-off with the Russians in an advantage position. Now to the right of Hamar, and there you see the Norwegian goaltender. He has been calm and cool as a cucumber in goal. It's one, Volkov back. Vardakov to receive it into an area for Lisov. Down low, Lisov tries to decoy the defender behind him as he just changes his body position on his sled. It's still within Russian possession. Volkov turning, and with 30 seconds counting down, it'll go behind the net. Got to be believing it's hard to get an offensive, real clear-cut opportunity inside this Norwegian defense in their own zone. They have packed the front of the net in front of Hamar. They are quick to assert themselves. It has been won, though, back by the Russians. There is enough time. In a danger position here for Vardakov. From the outside, a shot, and goes right off of the head of Pedersen. Bounces back out. The seconds preciously counting down. One more chance. Can they get to an inside area? Right now, Pamphilov is being kept at bay, and that's it. It'll end with an emphatic hit from Pedersen. The regulation time has come to an end. We'll have a 3-minute break before we'll start a 10-minute extra time period in the bronze medal match. And is this the way you saw it, Taylor, this potentially playing out?
I knew this could be how this game would end up. The Norwegians do such a great job of playing defensive zone coverage, and they just haven't let anything inside at all. This whole third period, there's been one quality shot from the middle of the ice down in the slot. Maybe holding on a bit here, but Norway very much in this game.
We are level and set to go into extra time in the bronze medal match. Russia opened the scoring in the first period, and then a goal to level it in the second from Norway. And nothing in the third as we look back at that first one from Russia. And it was a dynamite pass right onto the tape of Pamphilov.
World-class pass from Lisov to Pamphilov, who was just coming down the slot there. Just a good job finishing on the play, but then a good job by Norway working the entire zone, and Klake just putting a shot on net. Goes off the Russian defender right up over Plotkinov.
Pedersen getting assist on the play as well. The elevation of the puck, just getting it up at that mid-body height, and then actually Litvinenko having it inadvertently going off of his body, and there you see the celebration, and that is the reason why we are where we are now after 3 periods of regulation play in the bronze medal game, and we look back over those 3 periods thus far.
Even across the board, except for scoring chances, 22/10 in favor of the Russians, and they just haven't been able to hit the net and capitalize, and that's the difference in this game.
It is. It's as simple as that, really. And as we get ourselves set for these 10 minutes of extra time, a golden goal scenario, and then they talk about it, it's game-winning shots is the new term for these penalty shots, and it would be, as we see, 4-on-4, so 4 out skaters for each side. In addition, obviously, to the goalkeepers as well, a little bit more room out there, an opportunity maybe to determine this game in open play. You're looking on at the bronze medal final at these IPC Ice Sledge Hockey Championships in Buffalo, New York. Wherever you're watching, it's our pleasure to be sharing it with you. We're underway in the extra time. The official's not happy. It's a hand pass in the neutral zone, and there's no penalty with that. It's just a play that only can be made in your own defensive zone. So no advantage gathered, and they will reset this face-off. Pedersen out there, Odbake with them as well. And they go in kind of a 3-1 set, 3 offensive players, 1 defensively. We haven't seen the alignment that we normally have seen from the Russians where they have a player wide. It's different, obviously, with only 4 skaters out there. They'll move it across into a position. Lisov the captain for Russia. With control, he'll go back into his own zone. That's maybe not his best position in order to make that first pass sometimes. He really is a player you want up in the neutral zone, looking to receive it with speed, preferably. As now they'll make their way out. Touchdown, Volkov onto the stick intended for Lisov, broken up by Pedersen. He's right there in a position, and this is, again, very cautious approach from both sides inside his first minute of extra time.
Yeah, neither team wanting to make that first mistake that can lead to a scoring chance. And right now, both teams just filling each other out a bit. We'll see who gets a chance first.
This looks promising from Trenchev. He's confident in control. Pedersen, though, just turned his stick over, just whacks it off of him, and he puts it in an area equally for the Norwegians to compete for, and they retain possession. Smart play by Pedersen, and we saw him use his head literally to block that last shot, but now Trenchev in a position, try win it back. Klakeg using his body there. In a position now, Volkov, danger from the outside. Jakobsen blocks that into the corner, Pedersen. And it is really a game of chess in this game. Ice sledge hockey chess at its best, as both these teams try to execute there. In a position, Backe can get to it. He weighs off the icing against his team, and he'll control it now in the defensive zone. A line change for the rest of his three teammates, as he is one guy effectively playing offense against four Russian defenders.
Yeah, good job by him just to slow down and tie up the puck behind the net to allow his team to finish that change. And now they've got some sustained pressure in the Russian zone.
Smart tactic there, really, to allow his team to have fresh troops. When you're out here 4-on-4, obviously you have to do a little bit more skating, and you need to replenish your lineup out there, as Varnas will go back. And we talk about the conditioning of the Russians. Is that going to have a part to play in this final result? It is going to be the Russians in the offensive area, looking to play it out. Bogla turns it up a little bit cheaply. Trenchev jams in there. I don't expect we'll see a penalty unless it's flagrant in this extra time period, but you never know. It's obviously the interpretation of the official. He keeps a watchful eye over and seeing that everything. This is the turnover. Dangerous now. Hamar with a game-saving save right there.
Unbelievable save by Hamar.
Into the corner, and Trenchev will take it. He's got Norstoga right up against him. There's two Norwegian defenders, and just circling out is Amasov, waiting for it to come out easily. That generally isn't the case, certainly not against this Norwegian defense. They like to lock it in those corners. They've done it now, and they've rotated it to the other side. And Bogla is in there, and he's being met by Amasov, quickly just trying to get to it. And it is slow and steady right now. The hand pass, though, from the Russians has forced the face-off to come, and play will commence with a face-off just outside of the Norwegian zone. Watch this turnover, though. Varnas just overskates it, and he presents a chance there for Trenchev that Trenchev really could have made something of.
That was served up on a bronze platter right there. Trenchev just not able to capitalize, and that's been the story of the Russian offense today.
Volkov up against Pedersen on that face-off. Coming in immediately is Klakeg. Klakeg with credit for the goal. Assist to Jakobsen, and it should have been also Pedersen on the play. We'll look back as here goes the neutral zone. Pressure, Zelyukin almost gets across comfortably. And do they in fact now create a little bit of momentum, Norway? They are reluctant to push forward. They just sit and wait. And through the neutral zone, Lisov all the way in an area, and this game is really at a standstill at extra time. And I don't think it's necessarily because of energy. It's just, as you say, a very cautious approach from both sides. Dipping around, Klakeg trying to get some momentum behind this offensive zone entry. Pedersen, he senses that there's some room here. He's going to take a chance. He'll feed it to Klakeg. It bounces just away from him, though. It's Solberg in the back post. Pedersen will get to this one again. Pedersen, I think, is just trying to make a decoy with his body. He'll hold it. He'll go to the left hand. He's turned it up. Through the middle, though. Lisov can take a little bit of room here. Straight up against it. The angle, though, taken by Pedersen. Pedersen taking it the inside route, forcing Lisov to have to go to left hand. Volkov, and they have waved it out. Two players are going to get penalized, though, on this play. As you see the official from the referee, it's a roughing call, and he's quick to make that call.
Yeah, not letting things get out of hand here in the overtime period. It was an interesting call. Both players with their hands up. I didn't really see a lot of roughing going on.
This is the play right here. And looking at it, the shot coming in, and it's at the top of the screen. This is the one off the pipe. Hamar. And he gets a little bit, but the play had already been assessed and had been called.
Interesting here. This is both teams' best player that are going to be in the penalty box for the next 2 minutes. So things really opening up right here.
Pedersen and Lisov, the two players, and really the captain of Norway is Pedersen, although the C is worn by Solberg. Volkov, the redirection and change, but the penalty was assessed, but the penalties have now left us on the ice here, 3-on-3. And we look back on that goal from Norway. It is Klakeg, the assist to Jakobsen and to Pedersen. 3-on-3 and 2 late arriving. The official not happy. Varlikov has to come in, and play is swiftly kept moving in this extra time as all of this room now available. And the more potent offense you would think coming from the Russians, but it's now through the neutral zone. It's the Norwegians. Norstoga still going. A shot there, and it goes past the right post, and that was as close as any chance we've seen.
That wasn't far off the net. Norstoga there just trying to put it on the net, but here come the Russians on the counter.
Varlikov, he has scored in the tournament there, and that shot was worthy of it, but once again, not accurate enough as it goes over the right corner. And it really is difficult watching both of these sides right now. You know desperately for themselves that they want to give themselves the best opportunity. They're hoping that they can maybe have a shot, a real game-winning shot that could be the difference, but you sense here that it could be a mistake that leads to it. That's easily taken by Selyukhin. He's got some room. Klakeg laying it off. What a play by Litvinenko. Out front, though, dangerous. They're scrambling. It goes over the glove of Hamar. It goes past the post. They elevated it well enough to get it to that top right corner. It was available. Russia still with control. Are they going to come out and get a chance again from behind the goal line? Selyukhin just trying to draw Klakeg out. They need to maybe maintain a position in front of goal. Leave the Russians on the outside. Backe in a position going behind his own goal. Jakobsen doesn't go after it until there's an offensive play made. Interesting to see how deliberate Jakobsen was there before he decides to play it, because now it's led to an icing and kind of a curious decision made. And this is the type of decision, as sad as it might be, that could change the game.
Yeah, without a doubt, not a good play there by Jakobsen, but Russia doing a good job using the passing to get a shot on goal, but Hamar just getting the top of his glove on it to keep it out of the net.
Hamar in the way of that shot, as both teams, there's going to be a timeout taken by Norway. They know that they were getting tired. They take the icing, and it's a sensible decision made by Espen Hedge. You've got a timeout, you might as well use it now, rather than having one on the holster and just thinking your team was actually going to be able to keep this particular face-off defended. They are getting tired right now.
Yeah, they're definitely gasping for air. An interesting play there by Jakobsen, especially 3-on-3. There's a lot of ice just to throw the puck into, and for him to ice it there could be a very costly mistake here with a face-off coming in the Norwegian defensive zone.
There you see Espen Hedge just giving those final instructions. You also see what Samoylov, the Russian coach, was indicating. He was looking to triangulate the three players and to really create a 2-on-1 opportunity, which was going to create a shooting lane or effectively a passing lane. I think the Russians won't hesitate to shoot the puck if they're given an opportunity in this particular face-off win, and with this opportunity still with two players on the ice, they've got more room on the ice, less players to defend the shot, and you've got to take your chances. They did a moment ago. Hamar, I think, a little bit lucky on that one, but regardless, 3-on-3 inside of the defensive zone for Norway. Russia with the face-off. Selyukhin looking to spin and turn himself out of this real lockdown Norwegian defense. He's on the side of his sled there. It just inches out front. Need to be careful back. He takes it in the backhand and then just puts it out into an area that is well weighted, though. They do good work when it comes to that, the Norwegians. They know how to get that puck out without having to take any unnecessary icing. Norstoga immediately takes Selyukhin off of it. I think Klakeg can go here. He realizes it. He's going to try and cut a lane in. He's turned it over, though. Out onto the ice now. Pedersen, Lisov immediately trying to join this play. It's over into an area. Backe able to get it out. And the Russians now giving just a little bit of breathing room for the Norwegians to go back. It's Klakeg who will get to it, and he reverses it. Lisov, though, with some energy now. He's restored it as a result of being in the box for 2 minutes. Varlikov, a chance here, into the body. It's handcuffed Hamar, and if there's a Russian there, he puts it in the open side, but there wasn't. Lisov again, and does Lisov, against all odds here, have a part to play offensively in this goal? Oh, it's there!
and Volkov has won the bronze medal for the Russians. The play from the outside, and they finally break down this Norwegian defense, and they get a goal. 4-on-4, and the final touch from in front. A dynamic play as they look to share out the goal. Volkov with the final touch, he gets the game winner.
You see Varkolov just doing the work on the outside, and Volkov just coming down the slot with the perfectly timed tipped in front.
The service from Barlikov, it's Volkov to get the final touch for Russia, and it's a bronze medal touch, as this time Hamar hasn't an answer, and nor does the Norwegian defense. It has been a real beauty, this game, and between two sides that evenly and equally were as deserved as each other to win a bronze medal.
Couldn't have asked for a better game by either team. It was a battle out there. The Russian speed just a little too much there at the end.
And a calm and almost a sigh of relief from this crowd watching on at the Harbor Center. Not necessarily that there was a victor, but that it was over, because you could sense that it was getting closer and closer. And I wasn't entirely certain as that we would go to game-winning shots, that it could be determined, particularly when both of those penalties were assessed to Pedersen and to Lisov. The difficulty to cover the area on the ice and the amount of time that the Norwegians spent in their own zone throughout the match, it had to pay a toll. The final score is Russia 2-1 in overtime against Norway to win the bronze medal. They found a way, and although they had been wasteful, and let's be honest, at times, they had opportunities to win this game before time. They find a way, and when needed to most, they get a touch on it. As now for Norway, who would you give player of the game?
Christian Hamar had a great game in net. He made some big saves against the Russians. They had a double-digit scoring chances. So I'm going with Hamar for Norway.
We'll wait for the announcement, and then obviously the player of the game announcement for Russia, the winning side. And there you see a very quiet and resigned Norwegian team, but that's good to see them applauding and giving the credit there to Kjell Christian Hamar, the goalkeeper for Norway, who was outstanding all tournament. He carried the whole load.
He played against some tough competition this week in the Russians, Canada, and the Americans. So not an easy tournament for the Norwegians, but he did a good job. Got his team to overtime in the bronze medal game, just came up a little bit short.
There you see as we prepare for the Russians, and man of the match or player of the game for them.
They beat me to it, but it's going to Selyukhin. He played great today. He was all over the ice. The defensive zone, we saw him pinching in the offensive zone to keep possession in the zone for his team. So not a bad choice there. Selyukhin, the old captain for Russia, getting player of the game.
He did keep the play alive at numerous times and getting those second waves of momentum and opportunity for the Russians. And whilst he didn't score, he was definitely a big part of this final result for Team Russia. They've got to be feeling good. Even though they would have loved to have competed for a gold medal, when you're right in the balance to compete for a bronze, of course you want to win it. They were pushed to extra time, and now we will pause in honor of the playing of the Russian national anthem.
And remove your hats for the playing of Russia's national anthem.
Another inspiring moment of the patriotism of these teams when their national flag is flown and their national anthem is played in honor of their victory. As Russia will be awarded the bronze medal. They earned it. They had to go to overtime in which to do it. As we look back, Taylor, over the stats of this game.
Great game, just a slight edge to the Russians in all categories. They showed up to play today. We thought maybe that they looked a little bit better prepared in warm-ups, and it showed in the game. And consequently, they have a bronze medal going to be put around their necks this afternoon.
Norway equally played well enough to potentially win this hockey game. And when it's just the small things in it, particularly the pressure from the Russians, plays like this, remember back, you have to be able to prevent that pass out front.
Yeah, you have to get your sticks down and close off that passing lane there. And a good job by Lisov to recognize the opportunity, and a finish by Pamphilov to put him on the board.
So impressive, though, the Norwegians, how they stay with it, even though they were under siege and having to deal with this really strong and powerful and formidable offense from Russia. They stay with it, they find a way to level it, and at that point, they look to be the team most likely to go forward in the game.
They created some good momentum for themselves and really started letting the puck work for them, using their passing, got them equal, but that tip there at the end by Volkolov, you see him lift his sled up to create the perfect angle for him, the puck to reach his far right stick. Just perfect tip in under Hamar.
Such great control with those sleds as an extension of their body. The Russians triumphant at Harbor Center in Buffalo, New York. They win the bronze medal. They'll be awarded later during the gold medal match. Hope you've enjoyed the action. For Brent Pope, on behalf of Taylor Lipset, Russia 2-1 winners in extra time. They've claimed bronze.